All right, I'm going to follow your guys' lead on this then. You steer it where you want it to go.
Is it recording?
Yep, it is. Let me tell you, I am excited for this one. I think this can be a good chat. So, welcome to another week of the Dojo Media Show. We are Dojo Media Co. I'm Logan, this is Raphael, and we are the co-owners of Dojo Media Show, the runners of this amazing thing that you tune into every single week. And this week we're joined by an amazing specimen, Mr. Tomi Gray. Hello, Tomi.
Hello, Dojo Media Co. What a pleasure to be on the show.
Do you think we could do the entire show rhyming? No?
You just saved it by a second there, bro. And absolutely not.
Ouch, my toe.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we're struggling already.
Yeah, let's not do that.
But all right, so look, I would describe you how I've known you for, it's probably about 2 years now. We've known you about, let's say, it would be, right? Mid 2021. 2 solid, good, healthy, 365-day years.
Yep.
How do you know one of them wasn't a leap year?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Could be fact checked on that.
This, bro. Why you got to make things difficult?
I was going to say maybe we haven't all been like conscious and awake for all of those 365 days, but
we certainly haven't been together that entire time as well. We should probably stipulate that just so people don't think we're in some kind of polyamorous triad. Or
I saw you at lots of places. I don't know about,
but that's because you've got some of these cameras set up in my apartment as well.
Oh my God.
and yours.
I didn't know you knew about that.
That was awkward. But anyway, all right. Moving on. Look, I would describe you as a bit of a gentle giant, aside from some things that we've recently found out about you. The fact that maybe you were born on the streets of Sydney, maybe got jumped a few times, which is just horrible and traumatic. But I want to know how you would describe yourself.
Man, that came out whingier than it was supposed to. I think it's tough to describe yourself. I'm often sort of stumped by this line of questioning when it comes to like interviews and when people try and get you to even just simply like what you got to fill out what genre your song is or something on DistroKid when you're putting it up to be on Spotify and all that sort of stuff, and just any kind of surface self-reflection I can't do, but I think maybe I'm better at the kind of in-depth introspective stuff, so like ask me something a bit more. That's
kind of why I like to leave it broad, because I want to know where people take it. I asked you, like, how would you describe yourself? You didn't immediately go to, like, I make music, you know? I
do that.
So you do that.
I find it easier when people just kind of feed me the answers.
So I guess it's just, like, again, how I describe you is intrinsically creative. Yeah. And we had an interesting chat before, and I'd like to bring it up again, about imposter syndrome. And it's intrinsically creative people that we sort of agreed are inherently going to face a little bit of imposter syndrome. Yeah. So do you think that is kind of what stops you from immediately putting yourself forward as, I'm Tomi the writer, I'm Tomi the musician, I'm Tomi the... It seems like you've done a little bit of acting. You're very good and animated in front of camera, so I don't know about that, but...
Yeah.
Or do you just not like labels?
I tell you what it is, man, is like I find... for whatever reason, and I should probably pull on this thread a little bit more, but I find people who are capable of answering that question without any kind of like pause for too much contemplation.
Yep, that's the one.
Dude, I'm struggling with the old vocab tonight. I find them to be quite off-putting. Now I don't know why that is, but I think just I find there to be so many question marks at the end of every single thing that you could possibly ask about anything in this world, that to be sort of ready with a definitive answer about anything is preposterous, particularly when the question is like, who am I?
Who are you not?
Well, I'm not a jerk. I'm trying. I can factor
Maybe that's
out.
a better thing to ask.
Yeah, I think it's easier to ask what you're not.
Yeah. You're not a doctor, are you?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a hare. I'm not a fox with stocks. And I'm not a bear. But I think that, yeah, when you come to like creative people, I think that we just spend a lot of time at the whim of the infinite possibility of the universe, that it's kind of like, it's a bit overwhelming sometimes.
I almost wonder if people that do answer something like that so sure.
Sociopaths.
Yeah, and have they never like sat in a room by themselves, maybe on something, and just had to like tear themselves apart a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Because that's I almost can't stand those people.
Dude,
when I can't get the vibe,
There's that
that they haven't sat in a room by themselves and been like, fuck, am I a shit person? Or like at least had to question it for a little bit, you know.
I require a little bit of crippling self-doubt in my friendship circle.
Yeah.
Just a whiff.
Yeah.
You know, not enough for it to be like you're off-putting, but just enough for it to be like you've thought about, like you've put some time, you've peeled yourself like a mandarin and put yourself back together with cheap tape, and this is the product now, and you're unsure and you're not certain and you're a little bit skittish. I'm into it. I like that. That's my whole vibe. I'm the skittish mandarin.
The skittish mandarin. I like that a lot. So new project?
Let's mention where we actually met, like with Caladad and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
So how it all came to be was one of your musical projects. So the time we've known you, I've known you to be or to work in at least 2 bands and do your solo project stuff as well. How much of that has there been over the years? God damn, that was hard.
I had this thought the other day, man, because Facebook has a terrific way of reminding you just how much time has flown by. So it was giving me the daily motivational pep talk in the form of photos from bands that I've been in, and I think I was in my first band when I was 13, I believe, or 14, with my friend Kieran and Cash in Sydney, and we were called the Medics, and we played a couple of gigs, and we were banned from the Annandale Hotel because I lit my drumsticks on fire and almost set the place ablaze, and then I went on.
Any good pictures of that? Or?
I do have pictures of that.
Sick.
I will send you some
Yeah,
pictures
if
of that.
We've got to pop them in.
Splice them in.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I've always been in bands. I've always found it very. Like, I was sick last week. I was just telling you guys. I've been sick with whatever this most recent lab concoction is, allegedly, and I had to lie down and just be sick, and I fucking hated it.
I hate that shit.
You know, I was like, I can't do anything here. I have to just sleep, and I just felt like the biggest piece of shit. Yeah, and I just saw the minutes ticking by, and you know, you start having to face your own mortality more and more as you get older, and like, I have limited time. I don't know how much time. It might be a bunch. It might be not much at all. But it's like, it's limited.
I hope it's a while.
Yeah, hopefully, man. We all hope that. But I'm pretty fast and loose with the old jaywalking.
It's still going to be the longest thing you do this life, you know?
Yes.
Either way, so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it will be. But that's small. It's small consolation if I like fuck it up by like vaping too much or something like an idiot.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, I'm like, I've always. What was the original question?
How many bands have you been in?
Heaps of bands.
Or at least a little bit about the musical journey. So you've been, I guess we can say, been in and out of some bands. Some probably more successful than others. And we came across your path. When you were in the Cali days.
When we met you, you were in face paint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind face paint. It's good fun. Yeah. It's good fun. I think those boys asked me to join that band because I was already working at Dracula's, and I think
you were used to it.
What they liked about me most beyond my musical prowess was the fact that I was okay with wearing face paint.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, yeah, because like with
That's the
those
thing.
dudes, you had to put on face paint every single night
Yep.
as a punish.
Yeah. I mean, the music video that we did with you guys as
Yeah,
well.
you're wearing it.
Yeah.
Face paint in the rain. Had to get some other fire dancers
In the
to
rain, in
also
the
get
sand.
face paint on and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
go
it
to
was
the
a
pub
vibe.
for a feed with face paint half on the middle.
Yeah, we just got so used to it. It's amazing how quickly you can adjust to whatever the weird thing is that you're doing. Like I
Like
remember,
and I like creative people in this sense, how it's almost like it's a non-negotiable. Like you have to brush your teeth in the morning, you have to have fucking face paint on before you go on stage. Like,
totally.
I love that.
I mean, it's the power of. I mean, I try not to call it a gimmick, but I suppose it was a gimmick. The whole thing with that band was so just like this perfect storm in a teacup, you know. And they had, you know, I was a late comer into that band. The original guitarist left, and I kind of filled in for the arse end of the band before it imploded on itself, which it seemed always destined to
The
do.
makeup stuff felt like it was Mexican.
Yeah,
It had that.
it was weird.
And I felt like multicultural, like I was listening to something from overseas.
In this age of like cultural appropriation, it's amazing we did not get fired.
That you got it.
3 white dudes.
Yeah, 3 white dudes, one of them with dreadlocks, like playing Spanish-inspired music with Mexican-inspired themes, and it was just like, when's the cancel coming? But apparently we just cancelled ourselves.
You didn't need someone. I did ask something. You got that alien top on today?
Yeah, man.
You seem to have some fascination with aliens. Am I correct?
I have theories. I mean, they're probably not my theories, but I have multiple theories around aliens. I believe that we're probably like the caterpillar stage of what people have seen in this. This could just so easily be like your great granddad just come back to visit you in his like time machine, just sussing you out after like we've evolved past the necessity for, you know, regular eyes and genitals and things like that. I mean, if Elon Musk...
I always need my genitals, to be honest.
You might not need them, man. You might be smooth as a Chevrolet.
If dolphins can have sex for pleasure, alien me wants to have sex for pleasure.
Man, I heard that dolphin ejaculation can break through a brick wall. Now,
What?
I don't know if that's serious.
Someone in high school told me that dolphins used to like drag people underwater to rape them.
That
Like under
seems
little coves and stuff.
terrifying.
And it's like that.
That is absolutely terrifying.
It truly is. But we asked you in the initial recording that we fucked up so graciously. I fucked up so graciously.
Logan?
Yeah.
At least he's claiming it.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
If you fuck up, claim it.
Yeah,
if you
man.
do great, claim it.
Stand by your shit.
Kind of like, okay, we'll go there. It's sort of like when people sort of thank God. It's like, bro, you did it. Like, you did it.
Might have been a collab.
But
Yeah,
maybe...
I suppose.
You could do like a shared Insta post with God.
Yeah, or some massive dose of shrooms one night.
Yeah, and maybe you're just like a sim being like controlled by somebody from behind a intergalactic computer screen way out there, man.
Truman Show-esque.
Truman Show-esque? Like, I mean, you ever played Banjo-Kazooie?
No, where's that from? I've heard of it though.
You've played Mario. It's all
Yeah.
the same thing. Like, somebody is just like getting you through this life, man.
Yep.
Somebody thinks
Not
that
you.
you're going for the high score now with this interview.
So you're thanking God.
Maybe that's God. They're just the person with the controller.
Fair enough.
What was your point?
I lost that one initially, but where it was leading to was: have you actually seen Snoop Dogg's Hollywood star acceptance speech?
No, but I can imagine it's
He
fantastic.
basically just gets up and he's like, "I'd like to thank me for my hard work, me for my dedication, me for putting the time in," and people just have to be a little bit more gracious like that. I think.
But
I mean, a little bit more open to how
yes.
they're the catalyst of their own success.
See, well, this kind of circles back to that whole imposter syndrome thing that we were talking about before. Now, not every one creative has imposter syndrome.
No.
Obviously, there's people like Snoop Dogg that just seem to cruise from one awesome thing to the next. But he's a bit of an enigma. I mean, if I was to get up and deliver a speech like that, people would throw trash at me. You know what I mean? They'd be
Snoop Dogg's been able to sell out, and people are just okay with it.
Well, he's absolutely. He's kind of made all the wrong moves, and people just love him anyway. It's not everyone that can get away with that. There are certain sort of like enigmas in this life that just kind of people just love you no matter what. But I don't know. I think for the most part, like every comedian that I like, and even your kind of musicians that are writing songs about, like, you know, Mickey Avalon writing songs about his dick being the greatest and stuff like that, you still hear the dude talk and you're like, oh, you're crippled with anxiety, you know? Like, it's
100%. It's got to be a front. It's almost like a gimmick. Confidence is almost a gimmick for some people.
Confidence is it's a resource that it fluctuates. It's not always there in the same amount that it may have been yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I find some days I'm incredibly confident, and that might have to do with just the fact that I had a very successful bowel movement that morning or something. I'm feeling svelte. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Could be like I've just done more stuff and feel better about myself. Whatever it is. Some days you wake up and you're just like, it's just not there. You go reaching for it, but it's not there. But you still have to maintain that same life.
Yeah.
You know, you still go. You know, for me, I still go and do shows 5 nights a week.
Yeah. What's it like showing up to a show on one of those days? Do you own it, or do you put a mask on? Like, do you just have a different vibe to the show, or?
I like to think that I have a baseline these days, which is quite, even my like worst show is pretty, given people their money's worth.
Like, because you love it, you're present.
Yeah, and because
like you kind of forget about the shit.
Yeah, well, that's what I've always loved about music and performance, or the performance side of music in particular, is that you are in that flow state where you're present, you're connected to the moment. You know, you're not really thinking about the fact that, like, like this last week I've been crook, but I've still been having to go to work and do these gigs. And in the back of my head, I'm like, boy, I hope I don't throw up. But you just don't let them see that. You know?
Just do it backstage.
I remember my point from earlier, actually, and it was asking, you know, how we met you. You're in a band. You've done some solo stuff, though. What's the main difference there? Do you prefer one? Is it easier to get over those backstage jitters when you've got a few boys around you? Or, yeah?
Yeah.
Why? Because you're just chatting shit before the show. You're not really thinking about it as much.
Well, you just have other people there to carry some of the weight. It's simple as that. Like, when you are playing solo, especially the way that I do it with the sample pads here and the loops, all the multiple loop stations here, and the just like racks and racks of effects, and then the drum samplers, and like, it's kind of like being, you know, in the cockpit of this like really advanced spaceship, and there's just a lot going on, and then you kind of also want to try and engage with and connect with these people who are here. It's just, there's just more going on. You know, there's a lot more,
and it's all the attention's directed at you too.
There's a lot more stuff being thrown at you that you have to kind of juggle, and but like anything, you can get really good at it. You can get better at it with the more time that you spend on it. But if there's somebody there that's going to handle all the drums, that just makes it like way easier.
So you're saying you prefer being in a band?
I much prefer being in a band.
Interesting.
I much prefer being in a band, but the unfortunate thing is I find it difficult. It's like, how many successful marriages have you had? You know, like...
And with someone super creative like yourself, I imagine you are I wouldn't say like blunt with your vision, because you know we've collaborated with you. You're happy to like swing left when you want to swing right, kind of thing.
Totally.
But like, I'm sure there's sometimes you're just really, you want to do something your way, and it.
Especially when it's a thing that I've come into with a formulated concept. When I'm kind of coming to the party as a like, let's just see what happens. Let's create something together and see what it is. I'm a bit more better these days. I was shit at it when I was younger. I always thought that I knew what should be, you know, and I've had to learn over the years that like, it's not that I do or that I don't. It's just that it's the journey is not as enjoyable when you have that mentality.
Last music video we did with you was very interesting.
Yeah, it was
had
cool.
a lot of creative ideas.
Yeah.
And you said to us, like, you appreciated we didn't judge and we just went with your vision for that.
Well, I mean, it's not every day that you can walk into a room dressed as a human octopus and
get away with it.
And just not have even the raised eyebrow. You guys were just like, cool, yeah, well, this seems like the logical next step in...
Yeah. I wasn't saying that to like pat ourselves on the back. I was just saying that was really cool for us, like for you to have that strong vision, and like we really just love working with creative people that like bring something like that.
Totally,
it's almost like the face paint, like, and brushing your teeth, like it's a non-negotiable. Like the video required this fucking human octopus. Yeah, there wasn't a question about whether it was going to be in there or not. Like it is what it is, kind of thing. Yeah, and it's baffling that some people don't understand that, I guess, or
for sure. Well, that's it, man, and that's why you find that so many bands and creative collaborations, they don't work, because so many people don't have all the elements involved in dedicating your life to a creative pursuit.
Probably some people that just want to be famous,
dude,
and like sell out a bit, or like
absolutely
that would drive me crazy. Like,
well, I mean, I would say most of them want to be famous.
That's how I feel. Yeah,
and
just for the sake of it, not to show their work always.
Well, there's a lot of damaged people in this world, and I would say, like, probably most of us, I include myself in this, but the thing is, I've spent a lot of time kind of trying to understand my particular brand of damage, and I don't think that the problems that I have in this life are going to be satiated by a fuckload of people staring at my every move.
Yeah.
You know,
but
like...
a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that's the fix to the problem for whatever reason.
Well...
Whether it's the money associated with it or the clout.
It's because that's what we were told from a very young age. We're like, we're taught to idolize those with celebrity. Yeah. You know, and
get more value.
Yeah, they're the shiny people. They're like the special Pokemon cards that you used to get that you could go, ooh, it glitters. Yeah. They're rare. You know, we love rarity in our culture, but we don't celebrate the true rarity that we do have, which is the uniqueness of so many amazing artists and just human beings. We kind of, we like rarity when it's cultivated, when it's like, we like our women to look like Kim Kardashian and we like our men to look like The Rock, and everything beyond that, it's like, I don't have time for that. You know? Which I get because there's a lot going on and we need to keep things categorized and simple, and we need it all spelled out for us. But
I don't know, I love just like people that are local or in a certain area that are just so talented and happy being in that spot and like have the local recognition and appreciation.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I think it's normal human instinct to have a goal and strive towards that goal, and then before you even kind of get within reaching distance of that goal, the flag moves further down the beach. I think that's normal. I think that's not something that needs to be, you know, so if your goal is, you know, my goal used to be I wanted to be in a band. And I got into a band. But before I got into a band, it was like I want to be in a band that's like playing this many gigs, or then I want to get a song on radio, or I want, you know, the goal, it keeps moving. And like after a while, the goal just became, I don't want to have to go to work at the pub and then have my music as a sort of other thing or whatever it was. I've had so many jobs that just sort of was so unfulfilling for me.
Yeah.
It might be fulfilling for other people, but wasn't for me. And so my goal became, I want to be able to make a living out of music or performance and creating. And then I got close to that, and it became, I want to make a comfortable living. And so that it's always, I can see how some people would be like, all right, well, I want to be like a number one Billboard selling rock star or whatever, but that should probably not be your initial goal. You got to start with like, what's the motivation here? Like mine was, I wanted to be in a band. Why? Because I really liked playing music with my friends. That was it at that time, and then when you kind of get to every checkpoint along the way, you kind of need to stop and reflect and be like, is this still what I want? Because I've reached a couple of points in my career pursuit where I've been like, this isn't what I want, and I've had to backtrack. Being in that last band that we spoke of, that was one of them. I was like, this is what I always thought I wanted. Touring around the world, playing in a band, festivals, or like seeing all these kind of beautiful countries, meeting new people. There was a lot of beautiful parts to it, but also like the reality of that particular thing was not what I wanted. And rather than just like toughen it out because it's like, this is what we're doing it for, I kind of went, I don't want to do this.
It's okay for dreams to change too.
It's okay for them to change.
It's good to hear though, because if you had have just told us at the time, we'd be like, that's sick, you just travelled Europe. We wouldn't even process in our mind the challenges that came with that. Until like you tell us a bit of details. Like, oh shit.
Well, that's it, man. And there's always the kind of what you see on the front cover of the book, and then there's the story itself. Yeah. So
you always say about like touring, like you're just in one hotel on the next plane.
Yeah, well, I've heard, like, you hear stories of fucking Axl Rose coming out and, like, screaming the wrong city name, and it's like, you can't blame him, man. He's probably been in 5 cities in the last 4 days. Like, he probably actually has no idea where he is.
Like when Ronaldo said he's going to play for South Africa, but he's going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That was funny.
But it's like, how long did it take for you to get to the point where you could live off music, not even comfortably? Like, how many years into the career? Because that, to me, seems so unattainable.
I want to know how long, and like if you think you could have done it quicker.
I mean, I definitely could have done it quicker, but I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Because I had to do it the way that I did it to get to where I am, to know that I could have done it way different. Yeah, I mean,
it is a huge achievement though.
It is, and I used to have the exact same mentality of you of being like, that seems like that is why it was my goal, because it's something that I could work towards and strive for, and and then I got to a point where I realized I just realized, oh, this is all I'm doing. I'm making a living off music. It wasn't the way that I had thought it was going to be. I was playing a lot of covers to people that largely didn't give a fuck. Under TAB screens in like RSLs and competing with the chatter of like toothless dudes clinking their skewies together. But
Was that another goalpost move then? Because I suppose when you think, if I'm going to make music, if I'm going to live comfortably off of music or even have a living whatsoever, you're probably still assuming it's going to be to like dancing crowds that are really engaged or something like that. So was that another goalpost move? Of
absolutely, man. So when I kind of got to that point,
and so how long was it? Do you have like 10 years, 5?
So I moved out of Sydney when I was 27. I'm 34 now, so that long ago.
Okay.
When I moved,
the whole time you've been here.
Yeah, because I moved. I didn't move straight here. I moved out of Sydney into a converted ambulance. It wasn't converted at the time. It was just this cavernous, empty ambulance. But got rid of all my stuff apart from a couple of guitars and like some clothes that would fit in a backpack. And then I drove straight to Nimbin because there was the Nimbin Mardi Gras festival on, and they were like, "Do you want a gig?" And I hadn't had a gig before. I hadn't had a solo gig before. I'd only played.
I thought you were going to say you went there for other reasons.
Well, I mean, that was just a bonus. Yeah. That was actually the only payment that I received from the gig as well, but it's fine. So, you know, I kind of went, well, this is what I want to do, is I want to be playing music. I've got enough songs probably to do this gig, but I was really rudimentary. Like, I did this project where I wrote 100 songs in 100 days, so a song a day for 100 days, and that was my kind of transition without realizing from my band, which was just sort of not working the way any of us wanted it to work for a number of reasons, you know, like it's anyway, I won't go into that. So I wrote all these songs. I started to kind of formulate my own thing as a solo performer. I still didn't know how to play most of these songs. I just wrote them and recorded them, and then after that period of writing the 100 songs in 100 days, I found that I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to live in Sydney. I hated it. You know, I kept getting myself into situations that were not aligned with what I wanted emotionally, spiritually,
that's cool that
physically.
You made it out there and didn't get stuck in it all.
Yeah, I made it out. I almost didn't. You know, I almost stayed in that situation way beyond the point where it would have devoured me whole.
It's just, people can be like that in any city, just like from the place you grew up usually.
Yeah. People can be like that in anything, that be it jobs, relationships, like anything. You stay past your use-by date because it's convenient or it's comfortable.
You just don't know anything else.
Yeah. Or it's or I think what it boils down to is the fear of the unknown is overpowering to the discomfort of what you do know.
And the fear of change. Because even if you're slowly devouring yourself whole, it's what you've slowly gotten comfortable to.
Yeah.
So like you wake up and expect yourself to be a little bit fucking worse than you were the next morning kind of thing. So I think it's what's not just impressive is getting out, but like having the wherewithal to realize you're in that situation too, to get out. Like what do you think it was about the 100 songs that did that, or was it other stuff?
I think that was just kind of a gateway drug, you know. I mean, I people, my close friends who know me quite well, are aware that I've kind of got this yin-yang thing about me, like the way that I grew up. My mum is this like quite free-loving hippie lady that lives out in the middle of the bush and might decide that she wants to get in a bus and travel. Like she's just that lady. Herb magic, you know, witchcraft. Yeah, she's the best. And my dad is like this. How do you even? He's like a completely unique individual, a musician, a very intense
So music
fella.
runs in the family?
Music runs in him. It didn't really run in the family. He's the muso, and I kind of got it from him. And I think because most young boys just tend to gravitate towards emulating their fathers, particularly because he wasn't around, not because he was a deadbeat, just because my parents split up, you know. So I think I probably gravitated towards music subconsciously as a means of trying to connect with him across a void. And now
it's interesting. I hated the music my dad listened to until I was like,
music you listened to.
But between like 5 and 15, I hated it, and then I guess it was almost like trying to feel the same thing. I guess like started subconsciously liking the same stuff. Like I still enjoy the same stuff now. It wasn't like a phase kind of enjoyment, but
Same.
it is.
He's got this funny story, man, where that he likes to crack out at parties when he's had a couple of brandies. We were in the car together, and Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love is on, and I've apparently gone, "Who's this lady singing?" I was young, and I hated it. I thought it was dumb, and then I put my Backstreet Boys cassette in the thing. Obviously, I love Led Zeppelin these days, but it's like you kind of almost you have to go through a period of pushing against what your parents
100%
do.
It's what the previous generation enjoyed.
Totally.
You gotta fuck it. You gotta hate it.
Yeah.
Next kid's gonna hate us. then they'll love us.
But that being said, I really hate what's going on these days. You know, like for the most part.
Just everything? Like Gaza, just all of it?
Dude,
or just music?
It all
Do you
sucks.
like Taylor Swift?
No.
Not a fan of
I know you're supposed to be diplomatic, but I don't. I can appreciate why people do. No. Don't get all Reiki on me. I like Post Malone. I like a lot of rap. I like Kendrick, you know. There is obviously some good stuff, but
do you like mumble rap?
No. No.
Do you like trap music?
No. But I kind of do. I like writing trap beats, oddly enough, but I hate listening to them. So it's weird. Anyway.
Do you feel like you have to make things that you would listen to? Or do you only make, like, is that just naturally what's going to come out?
I feel like I need to start now in this point in my career refining the things that I make because they are too far scattered, which was sort of...
You have lots of eclectic sounds.
Yeah.
Very different ones too. And which is like, is that a result of different bands, different gimmicks, or just experimentation, just trying different things? I think
that maybe I just am a bit all over the shop, you know, and I think everyone is.
Yeah.
You know, I think people are just...
What do you think would change, or what benefit would come from not being so over the shop?
Well, I think that it would be a bit more easy digestible by your kind of average music fan, you know? So, for example, this song that I've just put out is kind of like a folk thing, but it's got this weird hip-hop beat that launches in on the chorus, and that's all right, because that kind of makes sense, because Everlast had that song What It's Like, which has the same kind of vibe to it. So it's been done, so it's not completely strange, so it's not going to freak anyone out. But then I've got this like gangster rap song about how if I was an ibis, I'd fuck all the girls. It's a bit much, you know, it's just a bit much to make that leap, you know? So I think that if I was able to kind of refine things and package them a bit more smartly, that would make sense. But then, I don't feel like I know what I want to be doing all the time.
Yeah.
Which is why I have so many projects.
I mean, we face the same thing in our business. Like they say choose a niche is like the fastest way to grow, essentially, because you're going to people know what to expect, but it's so hard. Like when you enjoy doing so many different things.
Totally.
It's, I don't know, you can still do these things in your spare time and no one sees it as well. But
who has spare time?
Exactly. And when you're like using it to create these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's,
so
wouldn't have any advice to give you on that one.
No, and I don't. So it just boils back to, I think the right thing has to be just do what feels like the right thing. You know, let your kind of... I think the more that in the past I've kind of tried to cater my things or my creativity or whatever you would say, whenever I've tried to force it in a kind of direction rather than just letting it do what it's going to do, it comes... It just bumps up against jagged edges.
Yeah.
Speaking about your past, like if we were to see 10 years ago, would we recognize the same sort of person? Or would you say you're totally different?
I probably just had like less wrinkles, man. But I've been pretty much the same. So, I mean, I was a bit more wild back then.
You were, okay.
Yeah, like
What's been one of your more transformative moments in life? Whether it was like a thing that made you change your inner being, or just something like the 100-day challenge.
Was the move? I mean, that's sort of again back to my parents. My mum is very in touch with her like spiritual side. She's been a big proponent of, you should read this, you should understand this, you should practice this. She goes off to meditation retreats for months at a time. So I've taken a bit of that and gone and done multiple like silent 10-day meditation retreats. And, yeah, and
I was just thinking about it the other day. Like, what's it like?
It's intense. It can suck.
I mean, for those who don't know what it is, it's 10 days of no speaking.
10 days of silence. So yeah, I mean, I've got that part of me, and I've also got the part of me that's my dad, who's, you know, doesn't mind a drink. He, you know, has dabbled in narcotics in the past. A bit more of a party animal, a bit more of an intense guy. Very intelligent man, though. He's the most incredibly well-read. Like, the dude reads a book every day, which is, it takes me a month to read a book, but I read because of him.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I've got these elements of both of these kind of very different people in me, and I think that that's kind of been my battle and my kind of strength through and in my youth, I maybe had a bit more of the intensity of my father coming out, and a bit more of the antagonistic, you know, down with the government, and I still believe all of these things. I've just come to understand how to finesse them a bit better. So you say, what would I have been like 10 years ago? Much the same, but probably just a little bit rougher around the edges. Like, I spend a great deal of my time these days trying to be a better person, you know, whatever that looks like. And I think that's probably just a part of kind of growing up.
Do you reckon having parents that aren't together like changes you as a person?
I wouldn't be able to say.
You don't know.
Yeah, people ask me that all the time. It's like that's always.
I just mean in the sense that, like, when you go from one parent to the other, like, you're in such a different household, different beliefs, different views on everything.
It definitely,
like,
it definitely
sounds like
would.
that.
Because
you have to be one person here and one person there, and it kind of like splits you.
Well,
in a way.
I think it also gives you, like, because I had a similar scenario to yours, but like, even politically, my parents were a little bit different. Like, my dad's just a little more conservative, and it's like, I think that kind of opened my eyes up to just more sides.
I'm kind of actually saying it in a positive way.
No,
so it kind of like makes you a more.
I see what you're saying, man,
more in depth in a way.
I think that a lot of people these days, they only have this very narrow worldview. You know, and I think that is. It's kind of a lot of why we have such frictiousness within our culture, is because people believe that what they know is the be all and end all, or what they think they know, what they've been told. Now, it gets worse because we seek out people that just will validate our belief systems. You know, not
so
only
funny
will
how
we
people do that.
Yeah, but not only will we do that, but it's also sort of encouraged algorithmically in what we see online is doubled down and repeated back to us because, oh, you lingered on this photo of puppies and therefore you must want to see more puppies. Yes, I do want to see more puppies, but I'd also like to see the occasional
cat. Legitimately, like, so
you know what I mean?
Spend an hour watching puppy videos. You might like every animal under the sun.
Bro,
fuck all those other animals now. Like, it's
absolutely.
I've never done that. Cats. Like, what are you getting as dogs?
Absolutely. Well, I have a probably an irrational distaste for cats because most of what I see is dogs, puppies, and wrestling is like 90% of my algorithmical feed. But my point is, I think it's important to be exposed to as much variety as you can. But we don't like it because it makes us uncomfortable. It made me very uncomfortable having to go from the kind of the cultivated, beautiful, nurturing environment of my mother's household that she worked very hard to provide me with, to then go and visit my dad on holidays, and it could be sometimes intense. He's a good dude, you know, a great man, but he lived a vastly different lifestyle. So, but if I hadn't have experienced any of that stuff, I'd probably be a little bitch. You know what I mean?
I wasn't expecting that at the end. But
well, you got to just say it how it is sometimes, man. I would be And
Like a little mama's boy.
I ran the risk of being a little bitch, you know.
I was raised by my dad more,
yeah,
but he's like a softer sort of guy.
yeah. But you know what? You get what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you only have exposure to one way of doing things, then you come to understand that that's the way things are done.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like how people say they never saw their dad cry, or like never saw that sort of emotion. I had my dad and my mum's partner like cry all the time, like
Sweet.
so much.
Yeah.
I thought it was the most normal thing in the world. I was like, who doesn't do this?
Well, it's important. I
Everyone
did see
does.
my dad cry one time when I accidentally almost burnt down his girlfriend's house.
What happened there?
I
So it
was
was
just
almost an accident, but you tried to.
I was just playing. I was a kid. I was playing with matches or something. I was playing with a candle. You could put a tissue on top of the candle and it went woo,
Oh, yeah.
woo.
Yeah.
And then one time it just went woo. And he kind of flipped out. He saw me do it, flipped out. Just knee-jerk reaction. And he's given me a little tap on the bum. And I've been like, oh, cool. I get it. Shouldn't probably fuck around with an open flame. But he's gone, oh no, I've hit my boy. And he's gotten really distressed by it.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit. Didn't hurt me. Like, I know you're not supposed to hit your kids, but I deserved it. I almost burnt the fucking house down, man. And that let me know, hey man, don't do that. But yeah, so I saw him cry in that instance. And yeah, it can be confronting because I never saw him.
Yeah, it's kind of like you think your parents are the strongest. They're never going to die. Like
Totally.
All that.
Even to this day, when you know something happens that reminds me that my parents are just flawed human beings, I still find it hard to grapple with.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, it's odd. It's so ingrained in you that like
you take all your advice from these people when you're young. Like you hang on to every word they say. And one day you realize maybe you're even smarter than them and you're like, shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, which is a weird one, hey.
Can be.
You know, and you would want to hope that you do end up smarter than your parents, because or else what are we doing as a civilization?
Exactly.
You
If
know, if we're not
forward,
through the
generation.
yeah. But I don't know.
Some of these people walking around at the moment.
There's a lot of just walking around looking up at the clouds, bumping
looking
into
down at the
shit, looking
phones.
down at their phone. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and I sometimes like to kind of, you know, given especially the job that I do, I get into a lot of conversations with people from all over the place, and it's like, I do believe that for the most part people all want the same thing, which is just they just want to be happy.
Are you excited for when everyone's wearing VR everywhere you go?
Are you excited for the global God dose?
I mean, it's gonna happen, man. So whether I'm excited about it or not, sort of, it doesn't matter. But I think a few of us should explore a God dose of our own before we kind of submit fully to the
Technology.
Yep.
Yeah.
the artificial realm. I honestly do believe that, like, if more of us dabbled more frequently with psychedelics, we would be in a vastly different boat than what we are now. But
we need a whole episode.
It's a hard political thing to hard flag to wave.
Hard one to get, like hard to get into those water supplies and
yeah.
dose them.
Yeah, I got people working on it though. I got people with spades out in the paddocks just looking for the entry points to the.
You might have the same spade guy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Danny the spade guy.
Danny the spade guy.
Yeah.
Well, look, until the day of the God dose, what's next for Tomi Gray? What's happening? What's your current inspiration? Where can people catch you? What can we expect?
Man, like I said, I've always got a lot going on. I'm working. I'm doing these gigs at Dracula's 5 nights a week, which is hugely
Where's the Dracula's for anyone
positive.
who wants to
Dracula's
come
on the
see?
Gold Coast, in Broadbeach. Dracula's Cabaret. So I'm the singing, joke telling dude there.
We have to actually watch it.
You guys.
Yeah.
gotta
We actually
come.
have to come and
What nights are you on?
get us a discount.
Tuesday to Tuesday to Saturday, I'm there, and then that gives me the flexibility and the financial stability to spend my other hours and money in ways that I want. For example, with this turbo static project that we kind of have been started working on towards together. I've got my solo music, I've got my children's book that's still out there selling, I've got my fiction novels for adults that are getting edited up. I want to learn how to do pro wrestling, so I've found a coach.
Really?
Damn, I would be keen to get into that.
Dude,
I'm a big pro wrestling fan.
We'll talk off camera because I need someone to come with, because I don't want to just walk in there and be the new guy that gets put through the tables. I'm sure they wouldn't, but
I think you have to though.
A buddy would probably be beneficial.
What would your wrestling
I'm
name be?
absolutely beginning. You know, there's a guy I found out. I was doing video for a promotion, and there's a guy who's chosen my name as his stage name. Spelled the exact same way.
Really?
Logan Pierce. Lucky Logan Pierce is his stage name. But
I don't know if you knew.
yeah, I don't think he
It's a
spotted
strong
me.
name though. It's a strong
I always said it,
lumberjack's name.
but now that I've known there's a porn star with my name,
Really?
and there's a wrestler with my name, so
That's
it's a
the
stage
only
name.
reason I wanted to work with you. Because of your name.
You wanted to
'Cause you
get to
thought
the
he
other
was the
Logan
porn
Pierces.
star.
Yeah. So where can people find all this? Where can people find your book? Do you have a website? Do you have...
I have a website, tomigray.com, TOMIGRAY. It's a weird spelling. Again, thanks to my father's side, the Irish side. But
You say you're Irish.
I have Irish in me.
Do you have any songs about leprechauns?
No, but I should get to work on that. I just feel like it's a good way to piss off a whole nation. You know, wouldn't be the first time. So all of that stuff, all the links to all my animations and all that stuff is all on my website. And I hope to be. This is the kind of the period where I'm hoping to just start putting it out there, because I'm hoarding it like a dragon at the moment.
Yep.
I'm sitting on a lot of content that
Get it out to the world.
get it out. I've never known how to do that other than just bang it online and see ya.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, but
The last thing I really want to mention, or like ask you, we don't have to talk about it for too long, but the nails, where was the inspiration? What's the meaning behind it all? Don't you paint them different colours sometimes?
yeah,
So I've seen.
I guess I don't really think about it. Like,
Okay, for me, it's always like stood out.
that's interesting. Yeah, because for me, it's sort of just been like, why would I leave them blank? You know, there's perfectly good parchment right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just always kind of,
Okay.
I've always kind of done it, man. You should try it. Maybe we'll paint your nails.
Yeah.
You
So-
got uncomfortable.
Now let's do it on a podcast, to be honest.
Okay. We'll talk.
Dojo paints his nails.
You do it yourself?
No, I go and pay a small Thai gentleman to handle these for me, because I like the way he giggles.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes
Fair
me
enough.
laugh.
Makes you comfortable.
Makes me very comfortable. He's got a very gentle way about him.
Yeah, does look pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's well done. Well, look, final shout out to Marty and Catalog Music, where we film this beautiful show every week. Beautiful record store in the valley. Any parting words from you, Tomi?
Man, I just appreciate you guys. Thank you for inviting me to do this, and I hope we get to do more stuff in the future. I enjoy you guys' company, and I love what you
Same
do.
to you. I hope we even get to do a round 2 of the podcast. We've had a few interruptions tonight. So,
There's a bunch of people just walking through.
so we might have a more organised one maybe in a few months or a year or so.
We
But,
should do
hopefully
one
stay tuned.
where we drop some mushies, and then we'll just see.
We've
what
discussed
happens.
it. We've discussed it.
Yeah.
I think it would be funny.
I thought we were going to do that on our last music video.
Oh, yeah,
I
but
thought that was like part of the contract.
there was a lot more stuff we had to tick off the box that day. So I
Yeah.
reckon us just sitting
Just
here.
a conversation while tripping.
Would have been a different video. We would have thought like it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And then in the editing room, been like, what the hell did we shoot?
Yeah.
It's exactly how the podcast goes.
90 minutes of floor. Imagine how good these flowers would be if we started to trip, though.
Imagine how good
They're
everything
already
would
looking
be.
pretty nice.
Just putting it out there, guys. Doesn't have to happen, but it should happen.
I think it should. Stay tuned for that one, everybody. Until then, bye-bye.
See ya.